So hi, I'm DeShuna Spencer. I'm the CEO of kweliTV. We are an English media network where they dedicate to issues, stories, and culture of the global Black community. So independent films, documentaries, web shows, and news programming for the entire African diaspora. I'm really excited to have one of our content writers here for our music film series, Dr. Ruby. She is really awesome. I actually met her a couple years ago. She has a really inspiring story, so I'm really excited to talk to her about everything she's doing with her web series that's on kweliTV, the Veggie Chest, in addition to many other projects. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this project, so happy to be here.
Yes, it's awesome. So, of course, you are vegan. You're raw vegan too, right?
I'm not 100% raw vegan. I eat primarily raw, but I'm not 100%. So I do most of my recipes focus on raw because that's where I'm headed. So that's what you'll notice. About 85% of the recipes that I put out are raw.
So talk about your journey. Of course, I know your journey because you were on my radio show like almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So talk about your journey to becoming vegan.
Sure. It started for me from health concerns when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2007, and I started researching just natural ways to heal the body. I didn't want to do surgery and be on medication, so I started researching, and I found more and more literature about how plant-based diets can heal the body and help the body heal, really. And so I switched from primarily vegetarian to vegan, and really switched to a whole foods diet. And that's how I came upon it, was just out of just research on how do I heal my body naturally, and that's what popped up.
So when you say whole foods diet, what does that consist of?
So it really means getting away from the packaged processed food, because I realized I was eating almost everything from a box before. Before I was diagnosed, I mean, everything, cereal from the box, and then, something frozen for dinner, even though it might have been the healthy frozen food, it was still in a box in the microwave, nutrition bars, all these things, nothing, I wasn't eating that much natural food, like just raw food, whole foods. And what I mean by whole foods are foods in their most natural form, meaning they've been minimally processed. So I like to use the example of just something as simple as an apple versus applesauce versus apple juice.
Right.
And apple is going to be the whole food. The applesauce may or may not be, they probably peeled it and added sugar to it. And then the apple juice is going to have zero fiber, lots of sugar, things like that. So when we're talking about whole foods on that spectrum, it would be as close as you can get it to its natural form.
Yeah, I think my husband, we try to do a good job at not eating packaged foods. I'm trying to think if we eat packaged foods. We eat grits from time to time, but that's pretty much about it. Usually we try to eat whole foods, even though we're not vegan or anything. I mean, we still eat meat and everything, but we try not to even eat that organic. But talk about your journey from deciding you get diagnosed with cancer. And instead of doing chemotherapy and other type of methods, you decide to go this route. What was the thought process like for you?
Well, I guess when I was just first got the news, I was just stunned. But I have to say my second question after what are the options were, what about natural treatment? It's just something I think I just always had in my head that I knew, natural remedies work. I never thought I'd need to use it or anything like that, but I just knew about it. And so because of that, it was just it was my first thought. What can we do naturally to heal the body? I think I had known someone, a really older lady who had said she had recovered from breast cancer naturally over 20 years ago. And so that came to my mind. I thought, well, if she can do it, I got to figure out what she did and do the same thing. So that was the first thought, was natural. There were natural remedies out there. I didn't really know exactly what they were. But I just felt like, the body can heal itself. We just got to figure out what to do to get it to do that.
So what was the regimen like for you? I mean, it's more than just saying, okay, I'm going to go vegan. I mean, my dad had cancer, and I was doing so he ended up going the traditional route, but I know there are certain foods and certain plant-based diets that you can take for certain diseases. Did you really like study up on exactly what's the best route for you?
I did. I did a lot of studying. That's pretty much all
Mm-hmm.
I started doing every day was studying. Once I found, the plant-based diets, it was like now that I'm switching to that, what exactly do I need to do to get my body to heal? So it was okay. Let's go to whole foods, but we also need to boost the immune system, and we also
Mm-hmm.
need to fight the cancer. So it was really like a three-pronged approach, giving your body the optimal nutrition and not giving it extra work to do by giving it processed food and meat products and things like that. Just give it what it needs, and it needs plant-based whole foods as
Mm-hmm.
a foundational. And then I started studying how to boost the immune system, because the immune system is what fights cancer, it's what fights colds, it's what fights the flu. It
Right.
does everything. So you have to really boost the immune system. So it was, that part took on I did more things like onions and garlic raw,
Mm-hmm.
um, the greens and juicing, things like
Mm-hmm.
that to help boost the immune system, as well as supplements. So I started researching what supplements would help. Like with cancer, IP6 is a really good supplement for breaking down the cell walls of cancer,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So the regimen was long at first because I was trying everything I read. I was
Right.
like, okay, that sounds good. I'm gonna do that, that, that.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, just as I started understanding the body more, there are many ways to heal, and you don't have to do them all at once. You just have to do the ones that I felt were most applicable to my situation, and then like reducing inflammation in the body and things like that. So it progressed. This process for me was about a year, a little over a year, and so it progressed. I started with the nutrition and the supplements, and then changing the nutrition plan to simplify it. And then I started adding meditation and visualization to it, as well as
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a holistic process, which is why my organization is Roadmap to Holistic Health, because it's really a holistic approach to life, to diet, to everything, because it all works together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found that it wasn't just the food that was the foundation, but it was a few other things that I needed to add as well.
So when you talk to your family, even your doctor, about going this route, what was their reaction?
The doctor was skeptical and dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "You can try that if you want. We'll schedule the surgery for a little while later."
Mm-hmm.
Because thyroid cancer, which is what I had, is somewhat slow growing, so I had a little time on my side.
Right.
So he was pretty dismissive, and then as he saw I was continuing on the path, he was just really negative, and so I ended up getting a new doctor
Mm.
who would kind of follow what I was doing and let me be my doctor, basically. My family was pretty supportive. And then some friends were like, just have the surgery, take the pill, get it over with. Why are you
Right.
playing with this? I was like, I'm not playing. I'm trying to heal my body and keep the organs that are working in my
Mm-hmm.
body, let my body heal itself. So, yeah, I didn't have overwhelming support, I have to say.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I know, I'll be honest. I mean, it'd be hard for me if my dad had lung cancer. If he was like, oh, I'm just going to eat raw or vegan, I think I'd be scared because I think people just care about you and they want you to live. And it's
Right.
sometimes it's so out there. Sometimes people are like, okay, how successful will this be? But you stuck to it, you were successful at it.
Right. And I was really serious about it. It's not like I'm just going to eat raw. I consulted with numerous doctors,
Mm-hmm.
naturopathic doctors, chiropractors, radiologists. I mean, pretty much every doctor. I'm sure I overdid it, but I mean, my life is on the line. So I was like, let me talk to everyone I possibly can, because radiologists, for example, because radiation is often a factor of thyroid cancer. So I wanted to see, could that have been the cause?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And then, the naturopathic doctors and chiropractors really practiced more the natural medicine. And so I had help. I had a good friend who was studying actually to be a naturopathic doctor, who really guided me on the path of immune system building things and stress reduction. So it's not something I took lightly, where I'm just going to go to the store and eat raw.
Right.
It was it was a pretty strict regimen. And then it became more natural as I got through it. And so I did understand the concern, but it's often because people don't know the power of diet and juicing and, cleansing the body and visualization and all of that. So I understood the concern, but I'm like, you're not reading what I'm reading, and you're not as educated on as I am. And so I do suggest people get help if they have cancer or something like that, someone who knows a bit more than they do, so they're not starting from scratch.
Right. And so were you getting scans every 3 months to see whether what you were doing was working, or how'd you realize, oh, I'm cancer free?
Right. I was getting ultrasounds initially about every 3 months to see if the tumor was shrinking. And it wasn't. So for most of the time, that wasn't happening. So that was kind of a blow initially, because I thought it was going to go away so fast because I was doing so much. But one of the things that did happen was my thyroid shrunk probably about 7, 8, somewhere between 7 and 9 months into this. When I started, I was doing things to reduce inflammation, and my thyroid was enlarged. They kind of call it goiter. And it's somewhat common. And, the endocrinologist I was working with said, he's never seen, people shrink their thyroid. And so when I noticed on my chart that I had, and I brought it up to him, because again, he didn't look and notice, I noticed it, brought it up to him, and he was like, wow, that is significant. I've never seen that happen before. And so I was pretty excited about that, because I knew something was working.
Right.
That what I was doing, and that was one of the goals. And then finally I had to have another biopsy to find out. And this was about just over a year. I had given myself a year for my body to heal and to go through this process. And since the tumor was still there, I asked the doctor, let's do a biopsy and test them. Maybe it's changed. And he reluctantly did it. And I got the results back a week later, and it was non-cancerous. I had no cancer. Yeah, it was all the tumors and nodules were benign.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited about that. And a few months later, that tumor dissipated altogether. So sometimes it takes a while, to get the results. And if I had just gone on just the biopsy alone, on just the ultrasound alone,
you would think that wasn't working.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a really awesome story. So let's talk about the Veggie Chest, because that's, you have that series on kweliTV. So I know you became, vegan, transitioned to raw, almost raw. How did you go from that, and did you say, okay, now I want to tell to the masses that this is what I'm doing, and talk about the process of coming up with your own web series? Sure.
So during this year-long process, I had to learn how to cook again, because, I was just used to, more boxed processed food. And so I was giving up like processed soy, because as a vegetarian, you end up eating a lot of processed soy. So I was like, I'm not eating any soy, because sometimes processed soy affects the thyroid negatively. So it was like starting from scratch, really. It's almost like a meat eater becoming vegan, because I was using soy products the way people use meat products. So I had to learn how to cook all over again and cook for health. So when I was looking at the things that I needed to eat in a day, like I needed to eat, a couple cloves of garlic, I needed to eat lots of greens, I needed to eat some raw onions, I needed to eat things like that, and lemon. I was like, how can I parsley, all these things I needed that help cleanse the blood. I started thinking I need to put these together in a recipe that tastes good. So I just started coming up with recipes that were foundational on things that heal the body. And so I realized this is going to be a lifestyle choice, so I needed to taste good. And so that's how I came up with just started cooking differently. And then when I was healed, I had let everyone I know about my cancer, because I was asking for information. So I was like, sent out this blast email to probably like 150 people saying, send me information. I was diagnosed, blah, blah, blah. When I was healed, I had a big party. So everybody knew I was healed. And so they started asking me how I did it. And I was being invited to speak. And it just kind of grew from there. And then as I transitioned into something, I was like, this is something I want to do. I want to help other people through this process so they don't have to start from scratch like me. And then once I started coaching, doing nutrition coaching, the show was really to help my clients learn new things like seaweeds and things I was telling them to use they hadn't used before.
Right. I never use seaweed. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe if I do videos, it'll help them with these recipes. It won't look so foreign. And so it grew from there, and then just kind of opened it up to everyone, and everybody loved it, and it's been really helpful for tons of people.
So you said doing videos, and you said, okay, this is just going to be something just for people to learn. You never really saw it being like this whole series that's almost like food channel type of show, because it almost comes across a way where you have guests who come in and they cook with you. I mean, I guess even call it cooking, because technically you're not putting anything in the oven.
It's like uncooking, or it's preparing.
Right. It is preparing. It's not technically cooking, but you are, you do have these really complex recipes. So talk about the process of coming up with recipes for the show.
Sure. So usually I'll maybe just think of a theme, like, okay, I want to use coconut, and I'll say, what can I do with coconut? I haven't done a lot with that, with raw coconut, and so I'll start just thinking of recipes based on that vegetable or fruit, and I'll do some experiments at home. I'll let some friends taste it, see if I can replicate it. And if it's a winner, then I'm like, okay, we'll do this for the show. So I just, sometimes I'll just get an inspiration. Like if I'm at a restaurant eating with friends and they'll have like some meat type dish, I'll think, I wonder if I can veganize that type of a dish and give it, a certain flavor. And so I'll come up with things like that, just based on, trying to make healthy versions of people's favorite types of food, like Sloppy Joe. I'm like, that's a favorite. It's easy. The kids like it. So let's make a healthy version of it and make it taste really good.
And one of the things, especially in our community, food is really, I think food is an important part of American culture, but especially within the Black community, you think about things like soul food and how we have a close relationship to that. Talk about, as far as getting Black people to really think about the ideal of becoming vegan, and how we can try to incorporate some of the traditional things that we enjoy into veganism, if that's even possible.
It's definitely possible. There's, especially in DC where I am, there's a large Black vegan population. We've kind of been at the forefront of the vegan movement in DC. So it's not, most of the vegan restaurants in DC are Black owned. And so we really pushed this from the start. So DC is a great place to be. I'd love to see a lot more vegan like restaurants around, but people are open to it when they understand that we can kind of shake off this legacy of illness and we think is hereditary diseases, and know that we can avoid those. Everyone, usually people I meet, even white or Black, have people in their family who have either cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, one of those things. And we're saying you can change that through your diet and it can taste good. And let me show you how. You don't have to give up the flavor. A lot of people are open to that because they either have that or want to avoid it because it's so close to them. So people are open to it as long as they know they're not going to be deprived and just have to eat salads every day.
Or raisins and cashews.
I know. I eat a lot of raisins and my own trail mix, but I eat a lot of other things too. I like food. I grew up in Alabama, so I like Southern comfort food too. I think that helps me when I'm making, especially raw recipes, give them that hearty, savory flavor to it. just in a different way. So I think people are open to it once they kind of, just open their mind to that. Okay, maybe we can't have ribs anymore, but we could try something else that tastes pretty good.
Right.
And then you forget about the ribs later,
So talk about on your series, you put together recipes very quickly. Of course, things are edited. It's never any show, nothing ever takes 15, 20 minutes to actually make. Talk about the process actually preparing food,
right.
And the fact that for a lot of Americans, unfortunately, we always say, we don't have no time. People think that's just easier to get like the boxed or the prepackaged dinner and put in the microwave versus taking the time out to make something that's, wholesome and vegan.
Yeah, I try to make recipes pretty quick. Obviously on the show we do about 5 minutes, and it takes a little bit longer than that, but not that much longer. I mean, I usually, prep things well in advance, the morning of or night before. Everything's going to be pre-chopped and this, that, and the other. But with the food processor and things that I use, it's not a super long process. I try to keep things if you're actually in the kitchen, because I like to cook, but I like to cook for other people generally. So if I'm cooking for myself, I'm like, this needs to be done in 20 minutes.
Right.
So because I've got other things to do. So I try to keep it simple. And with raw food, you can generally get it done that fast in 20 minutes because you're not waiting for something to boil or whatever. You might have to pre-soak some things, like maybe that morning when you get up, put the nuts you're going to use, you might need to let them soak for 2 hours, even overnight. So there might be some thoughtfulness into it, but nothing that's going to take a lot of time.
Right, because I think a lot of times people think that if it's, something that's preparing for the night, it's going to take longer. And of course, most people talk about how busy they are and they're not able to really prepare food like they want to.
Yeah, and I try to do more cooking like on Sunday for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then on Wednesday for another couple of days, so that, and maybe an entree that I can use and just add some things to it, like some vegetables or salad or something, so you're not making a big meal every day, and that cuts down on time a lot when you do it that way. So you're not in the kitchen all the time. But you need a couple of good things. You need a good knife and maybe a food processor,
right?
And then you're probably good to go. And a blender.
Okay, that's really good advice. Another thing too, you hear people say if they may watch your show, like, okay, that looks easy, but how much does all this cost? I think a lot of times people assume that if someone is preparing food like that on a consistent basis, that it may be more expensive than just going to whatever place and picking up some food for the kids.
It's not that, it's not much more expensive. I mean, because good quality meat is expensive.
Yes,
so if you're buying the really low quality factory farmed meat, you're doing yourself a disservice anyway. So it's, I spend most of my time in the produce section, and that is relatively inexpensive. When you compare a pound of greens to a pound of fish or chicken, the greens are going to cost less. So, and then you get your protein from your beans, nuts, seeds. Beans cost a lot less than other things. I buy a lot of things in the bulk section so I can get just the amount that I want. So when you really do a cost comparison, it's not like prohibitive. When you really, if you're looking at things like tempeh, they don't cost that much, but they go a long way. So it's affordable.
So during your show, as I mentioned earlier, you do have people who, in some episodes, when people actually join you, and when you're cooking, are they also vegan? Or are there people who are trying to go for the first time, and they base off of the course they enjoy while they're there? How do you find the people to join you on your show?
Sure. Most of them are not vegan, and I kind of like it that way because we get to introduce some new things. So I had a friend who's really a big foodie and a cook himself, and I was like, give me your favorite dish or your best dish and let's veganize it. That was one of the episodes, and so we did a vegan quiche. that I just came up with that recipe after he suggested quiche. I was like, okay, we can do quiche. Let me go play in the kitchen, come up with the recipe, and then we tested it out and really liked it. So I kind of like to have, people who maybe aren't part of that lifestyle, so they can be introduced to it and show them you can have healthy food too. And if they love it, we know the vegans are going to love it, and everyone else is too, because it's really good. So it's really for everyone. So the show isn't geared toward vegan people. It's geared toward people who want to eat healthy, and because everyone can have a meat-free meal. And so the other way, I've had a friend who are like caterers or chefs or something, that I'm like, sure, join me on the show and let's cook together, because we've cooked together in the past doing events or something like that. And I kind of like their style of cooking, and I've helped them introduce vegan items to their catering menu or their restaurant. And so we thought it's a good thing to collaborate on the show.
Right. I think it's a good, like when I see the shows that, people seem to be really pleased with the meals. And I think it's also a really great way to experiment. I know with kweliTV in particular, when we post things about it on social media, we get a lot of great response from there for what we're doing. Because again, I think there is this misconception that Black people are vegans, like you said in DC. Most of the vegan restaurants are Black owned, so we do practice a lifestyle, but I think it's refreshing for a lot of people to see a Black woman who's really promoting truly healthy lifestyle through food.
Great. Yeah, I love it. I love doing it. I love introducing people to it. And then they get to touch communities that I'm not maybe in, and so now they can pass that on.
Do you see yourself expanding the series at all to do more, or to try to reach bigger audiences, or maybe doing something international?
Definitely looking to expand it more. And just as it gets more popularity, more people know about it, and then I get different requests for things, and I'm like, I can try that. So it kind of keeps it interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to expand it. And I know, I've had people email me from, Australia and other places who've tried the recipes. So yeah, I'm definitely excited about the growth of the show, and excited to be a part of kweliTV as well. And because I've gotten notices from people, friends who say, I saw you on this channel already. They were like really excited. Yeah, so this channel is doing great, as well. So I'm glad to be a part of it, so that we can keep our communities healthy and happy and just continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of kweliTV, and I'm so happy that you agreed to have your series on there, because I could easily have another, macaroni and cheese recipe on there, but the goal is to really, have people live better, live their best selves, and that's one of the missions of kweliTV. So I definitely appreciate you being on the network. Do you have any final words or comments, or even any advice for people who are maybe looking to go vegan and maybe seeing a couple of your episodes and maybe try 1 or 2 recipes, but like, I don't know if this could be a lifestyle? What advice would you give someone?
I would say keep trying, because it's just like anything else. There's going to be some things you don't like, some things you like, and to build up your, repertoire of recipes, so that when you decide to go ahead and make that complete switch, that you have something to go to, because that's one of the pitfalls. People kind of get tired of eating the same thing. So keep updating, keep watching, get new recipes, and keep trying until you successfully make that transition, because it does work, and you'll be happier and healthier for it.
Yes, and cancer-free.
Absolutely, that too.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby. This has really been a really great pleasure to talk to you again and learn more about what you're doing and some things you're going to be doing in the future with your series. And you can watch her series, The Veggie Chest, on kweliTV. And watch a lot of other great programming right now. Around $19.99 a year during beta. So get it while it lasts. And until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
It was really awesome talking to you. Have a good evening.
All right.
Bye. Good night.